Hello and welcome, my name is Josh Burns, and today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to create a curved hallway, much like the one I made in my Prometheus Giger-inspired video. So I'll just show you that here. So basically what I wanted to do was create sort of the look of the Alien movies, and we'll be creating something similar to this, something slightly better. I've learned a few things since then, and yeah, so basically to get started, all it is, like it always is a new solid and element applied to it. And there's also going to be another solid, and that's where we're going to draw the mask shapes. In this one, there's only one group being used, well, technically two, but they're both the same shape. So we'll see how that all goes. First off, you want to actually draw the mask shape. So I was just going for a really organic look, really, all curves, See here, kind of a recessed area, and then the arc at the top, and so on. And then also create a floor that isn't attached. So, and with that, we'll also add a piece at the bottom, and that can sort of be what you see through the cracks there. Just adding a little extra level of detail, a little bit more interest to the piece. Okay, so now you want to add that to element. Open up the interface and extrude your shape. Okay, there it is. Pretty simple. But now we want to get it to be a little bit more interesting, a little bit more organic, and a lot of curves, a lot of cool looking shapes. So we're going to turn the extrusion actually all the way down to 0. And make sure we're doing beveling both sides, because actually all of the extrusion is going to be done with the bevel depth. See what happens if you have the extrusion 0 and you use bevel depth, you can actually create a wall that actually curves a little bit into itself. So that's one of the things that I've actually improved upon in this video. So you'll see here it's actually curved out now, so make that a negative value. You can see once you crush it down a bit and adjust the extrusion amount or expansion amount as well as the bevel size, you can actually get this curve here. Alright, crush it down a little bit, and that's the basic shape of the hallway. Alright, so then we want to add another piece, sort of like, the idea is it kind of looks like a spinal column or something like that. So in the second piece, this is going to sort of act as our cartilage, the piece that holds or connects the different segments of this hallway. So it's just going to be sort of a round, bulging piece that sort of protrudes outward, much like what we have here. And this is just achieved by adjusting all the fine tuning of the actual bevel itself. And again, very little extrusion. And then a third, and this one is used to create sort of a soft edge, because right now it's kind of a hard edge that we're attaching to, because each piece is going to attach to the next when we create it. So you want to sort of have some sort of a connecting sort of joint, and with that I just want it to be sort of a smooth shape. So you can see here, I'm just bringing the size down so it kind of links up and blends smoothly in from one piece to the next. Okay, just fine tune that a bit more. And you can see at the top there, I wanted to actually add a little bit more detail. The nice thing is, once you have your mask shape, nothing's set in stone. You can adjust it here, so add this extra sort of tube here that's going to be showing, and then maybe a ridge along the side. And this is a great way, is once you have your basic shape, you can actually adjust your mask parts afterwards, and they'll update sort of live, and that's a nice way to tweak things, make sure that your bevel and your shape itself isn't cutting into itself, as well as just make it a little bit more detailed without having to do a lot of work. So add the ridges along the top like what I had, and then also with this I want to add maybe another sort of conduit along the side as well. So create a recess and just pull that back. Cool. And then also with this, just smooth it out. Everything should be nice and round. And that's just the look of what we're going for, but you can make whatever you like, obviously. So, and then just another little conduit in there, and then I'm going to add a camera, and when I add the camera, it's going to redraw and reference the new mask shape. But anytime you move the camera or move the piece, it will update any changes you've done to the mask. So there is our sort of wall segment. Pretty cool looking. I like the sort of curves to it. Yeah, let's get a few of these lined up and see what the hallway is starting to look like. Okay, so that's easily done as well. So this again, go into Element, into your Group 1, and in here you want to choose 3D Grid. It'll fill up a 3x3x3 grid, and we want 1, 1, and however many segments you want. It depends on how long the hallway is. So to get it to expand out, all you do is adjust the size. There you go. And you just want each piece to sort of be just touching the other one, or just overlapping a little bit, so that soft edge is blending into the previous piece. There you go. Okay, there's our hallway. It looks pretty cool now, but adding the curve will just add that much more to it, because right now it's so organic. It looks really like something that was grown, not something that was created, but that's going in a perfectly straight line. So that just seems off. So next thing, to actually get the hallway itself to curve, is copy and paste the properties from Group 1 to Group 2, because we want both groups to be identical. Paste in, there you go. Okay, and then make Group 2 the same piece as well. All right, so now it's best to move to 2 views so you can see a top view as well. So just dial it back so you can see the whole piece. All right, so basically what we want to do is create sort of the 2 different states of this hallway, and then the in between is the curve itself. So here we go, just a rotation of the shape under the particle replicator, and then also under particle look, open that up, and also rotate the pieces a little bit as well, just because I've done this before and I know you have to do it, so might as well adjust it a little bit now, knowing that it's gonna have to change. So there you go. All right, perfect. So now the way we blend between these two is using the animation engine. Let's turn that on. It'll automatically default to 0%, which is the first piece, Group 1. And if you slide along there, you can actually see it's starting to move things, but not in a really desirable way. So what you want to adjust is the directional options, the yaw and the pitch. And as you play around with it, you can see, here we go. We've got pretty close to what we're looking for. So just a pretty straight segment of the hall, and then it's starting to curve towards the end. So now fine adjustments can be done by actually adjusting Group 2's position, rotation, and so on. So you see here, actually decrease the size a little bit so the pieces are a little bit closer to one another, and that brings them closer in. And then also adjusting the position creates a little bit more of a curve there, but you can see they're lining up pretty close now. And the next thing you want to do is actually go into the particle look again, and then just fine tune that rotation, just so it's starting to look there. That's pretty good. So now it's all sort of connected and lining up nicely. So that is how you curve a hallway comprised of multiple pieces. I do plan to be doing part 2 and 3 of this video. So what part 2 is going to be is the actual chamber with the moving parts at the end of the video I created. And the third piece, or the third video, is going to be about lighting the scene as well as the actual texture itself, the bump map and the material and all of that. So that will be coming in the next few weeks here. But for now, this is the end of the hallway video, as it were. but I'm not done yet. I'm actually going to add an extra mini bonus tutorial at the end here, and it's also sort of pertaining to hallways. It is a sort of procedurally created maze type of hallway where you basically build square segments of a hallway system, whether it's a straight on or a corner or sort of an open area, and then combine that with the 3D grid to create a randomly generated sort of map. It kind of creates a maze type shape, so you could use it for lots of things. So with this one, start off with an element layer and then 3 solids. Each of these solids is going to have a different piece, basically a square segment of a hallway, whether it's a corner or a straight line or a wall with an opening on one side. So and we'll see that here. Just select one layer, add element to it. Okay, then get our shapes ready. So on this one, I want to do just a square because it has to be square. Well, it doesn't have to be, but it's helpful. It could be a rectangle or something like that. But so I want to create these 4 corner posts and then duplicate that on the next layer and create a hallway that is there. Okay, perfect. And then also copy and paste those onto here and then create a corner. So we have these 3 different pieces. So then add those 3 into element and then go into the interface. And inside here, we have our one wall segment. And a really easy way, if you're going to be doing the exact same thing to 3 different pieces, it's easy to just select this like this, get your shape created properly. First off, you want to rotate it so it's actually facing the proper way, because it's a lot easier to do it here, and then every time you don't have to actually change everything when you get back into After Effects. So, alright, so add our different pieces here. I just want to do like sort of a bottom cap on the floor, and then also on the ceiling. And speaking of the floor, I'm not going to do a floor at this point. The floor can be created the exact same way, except just with a floor panel that's square. Basically, it's the shape of the other pieces. Alright, and then our little top cap here. Perfect. Alright, so the easy way to do this is just duplicate it, and then instead of custom 1, go custom 2, and copy it again, and custom 3. Okay, so there are 3 wall segments, and this is what's going to make up sort of this maze. Alright, so you got your one piece here. Turn those layers off, and then probably going to want to add a camera to the scene, just so you can sort of navigate around, see what's going on. Alright. So it's randomly brought in one of the segments. This is the straightaway. Just want to pull back a little bit, go into the element itself. And again, we're going to choose 3D grid. Okay, so now lots of parts. So in this case, we don't need any Y value. So turn the Y down to 0, and you can see here, after adjusting that, very simply, you can see exactly what's going on. It's creating this sort of grid-based segment with just choosing random pieces. But to make it a little bit better, actually adjust the random angle. So with a random angle selected, what it does, each piece it calls up, it's going to randomly rotate. So you can see now each of these pieces, if we increase the size here, they all come in, or increase the amount and then increase the size. They're all coming in randomly. So it's actually creating a segment of hallway or a maze part, or it can be used for lots of different things. It's an interesting technique, though. I haven't played around with it that much myself, but I am excited to do more with it. So. And so on. And the great thing is to, if you're not quite happy with the pieces that you've got, like maybe you need more of a hallway or maybe you need more of a straight line, just choose a random seat in there. And then we've created sort of this area here that you could be moving around in, or just, and if you don't like it, just change a random seat until you do like it, until you find a segment that you like. So yeah, so that's sort of the second hallway version. The first was the, create the segments like before, and then increase it again, and you can you can do some really cool things with it. Another thing to think about as well is if you're not happy with the amount of, let's say, straightaways that you have, you just go in and select that piece that you want more of. Maybe it needs to be more open, so you're choosing this here. Or maybe you want more straightaways. Either way. And you just duplicate that a few times. And so basically now, when it calls up randomly which piece, it's weighted more heavily to have more of these straightaways and one wall segments. So then when you go back in, what it will do is it'll actually create a much more open space. So there's a lot more you can do with it that way, a lot more chances that the random seed is going to call up a large segment here, quite a large segment of hallway that's all interconnected. So there you have it, 2 different ways of making halls. One really random, procedurally based, and the other a lot more calculating, but you end up with a much more dynamic result. This is a lot simpler. Alright, so this has been part 1 of the Prometheus video with the added bonus of the sort of Inception-y type maze creation thing. I don't know what it is, but it's cool looking. So, and that's what I'm mostly here to do, is show you cool and how to make it. So yeah, if you have any questions about anything that I did, feel free to ask. And also, if you liked what I did, hit like. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. And yeah, we will be following up with this hallway here shortly, probably next week sometime, creating the actual chamber where all the action happens at the end of the hall. So I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this has been Josh Burns.